I stood staring down at Amy, my wife of 27 years. Her lifeless body crumpled in a heap at the bottom of the stairs. So many emotions rushing through my head. Panic, fear, anger. But most of all, I felt tremendous guilt. I wondered, could I have stopped this? I knew she got out of breath and dizzy when climbing the stairs. And although at first glance this seemed like a terrible accident, deep down inside of me I questioned whether it might have been something else, something very troubling. After all, Amy had been very low recently, and I'd become increasingly concerned that her dark moods were affecting her life more than she let on. She had always been so bubbly. It was one of the reasons I fell in love with her in the first place, her positive outlook on life. But over time, she had turned into a different woman, ground down more and more with every weight loss failure. And I hadn't been able to help her. I was supposed to be her rock, her protector, and I had let her down. I had failed to take her struggles seriously. And look what the outcome was. She had tried everything. Keto, vegan, Atkins, jogging, push-ups, squats. She ate a healthy breakfast, eggs, oatmeal, berries, and dinner, chicken, brown rice, and vegetables, just as the doctor ordered. But each day, the scales would remain the same. For so long, she had tried to ignore it. But I saw the physical and emotional pain it was causing her. Extremely unhappy, with rock-bottom self-esteem and pretty much no energy, she was a shell of the woman I'd fallen in love with, trapped inside a tired, overweight body, which was now on the verge of giving up completely. A million thoughts rushed through my mind. I was shocked and angry. Angry with the universe for letting this happen to the woman I loved. Angry at the doctors whose weight loss and exercise plans hadn't worked. And angry with myself for not having been able to help more. But right now, I had to act fast. I hurried down the stairs. Luckily, I knew exactly what to do and immediately started CPR. To my relief, the color gradually returned to her face and the glaze lifted from her eyes. "What happened?" she mumbled. "It's okay. Just relax," I said as I called for an ambulance. "You're going to be okay." It was this moment that changed our lives forever, because it forced me to go on a journey that would reveal the shocking truth about the modern-day obesity crisis, leading me to discover a 7-second daily ritual from a monk in the mountains of Tibet that has helped transform the lives of tens of thousands of women and men around the world. One so powerful that it was able to flip Amy's metabolic switch, and after years of failed diets and feelings of hopelessness, melted away 2 pounds of stubborn fat practically overnight. She'd go on to lose another incredible 65 pounds from her face, belly, arms, hips, and thighs in a matter of weeks, transforming her from looking like this to this, ridding her of the crippling insecurity and restoring the energy, confidence, sex drive, and zest for life she had when we first married almost 3 decades ago. Her skin looked different. It had a new glow about it and looked much tighter and smoother, leaving her doctors speechless and every overweight man and woman desperate to know her secret. You see, despite what we've been led to believe, the real cause of stubborn belly and body fat has nothing to do with starving yourself, crash dieting, or waving your favorite foods goodbye, slaving away countless hours in the gym, doing workouts you hate, intermittent fasting, depriving yourself of carbs and sugar, or any other of the latest dieting fads, or your thyroid, metabolism, aging, or genetics. Instead, it all comes down to this: a dangerous foreign compound that's floating through your veins right now. Something we are all exposed to constantly that forces your body to store more and more fat. Scientists discovered that this substance is found in almost every man and woman, especially those over 30. And the more you have, the more you'll be a storehouse for fat. According to groundbreaking peer-reviewed research from various leading colleges like Harvard, It is the real root cause of why we gain weight and what is behind America's obesity epidemic. Fear not, though, because using a simple but very powerful secret that was revealed by a Tibetan monk over 12,000 miles away, you can effectively rid your body of this dangerous foreign compound and force it to melt away the unwanted fat, leaving you so slim and sexy that Michelangelo would be proud. A secret that, in my opinion, has been hidden by the wealthy elite of the health and pharmaceutical industry because it would lead them to lose billions upon billions of dollars. And yes, this discovery has nothing to do with fasting, keto, sit-ups, counting calories, gastric bypass surgery, or extreme exercise like P90X, CrossFit, or Insanity. Instead, you just need to follow a simple 7-second routine daily, which will allow you to eat foods like brownies, ice cream, spaghetti, and donuts without piling on the pounds. In fact, it's recommended not to cut out any of your favorite foods. This 100% safe and natural ritual that has turned my wife's life around and given her back her lean, alluring figure and stress-free body is something that I have to share with the world because it's too important to hide. And until now, that's been the problem. This simple secret has been right under our noses, but kept hidden from us by the authorities we trusted to make us better. But not anymore, because in the next 4 minutes, you'll discover why everything you thought you knew about weight and fat loss was a big lie. You'll feel shocked and disgusted when a former government-funded research scientist turns whistleblower. He exposes the 3 biggest weight loss lies touted by doctors and weight loss experts around the world, and why, in my opinion, all their diet and exercise plans are doomed to fail. I will reveal the dangerous foreign compound that's floating through your veins right now, the real root cause of your stubborn belly fat, and the 7-second hack that you can do tonight to rid yourself of it, allowing your body to start burning fat, detoxifying and reducing the resulting damage, support heart health, and help to maintain healthy blood pressure and sugar levels. Plus, I'll show you scientific studies from the Ivy League colleges that show that what I'm saying is right. The truth is, there are very few people who know about this simple, all-natural breakthrough. But if you want an easy and proven method for burning off body fat hour by hour, a method you can start using right now and only requires 7 seconds a day, I urge you to watch this entire video while you still can. Because this solution has already worked for 74,820 people, and that number is rising rapidly by the day. I even used this simple hack on myself to drop 4 inches from my waist and reveal the abs again I hadn't seen in years. I feel fantastic, and I'm certain it'll also work for you, regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're 18 or 80, whether you have more than 100 pounds to lose or you just want to drop those last stubborn 10 pounds that have been plaguing you, whether you think you have a slow metabolism or bad genetics, and regardless of whether you've tried every diet and exercise plan under the sun, or simply worried about future health complications. I understand if you don't believe it. In fact, due to all the blatant lies and misinformation that's running rampant in the health and weight loss world, you should be skeptical. But all I can say is that if you're ready to hear the truth about weight loss, backed by high-quality, scientific research, then you've come to the right place. But it's absolutely crucial that you keep watching this video right now to the end, because I honestly don't know how much longer I can keep it up. You see, the health and fitness industry is worth a staggering $250 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B. And the truth is, I believe it's in their interest to keep you fat and unhealthy. Meal plans, diet shakes, weight loss programs, fitness equipment, meal deliveries, gym memberships, extreme exercise, you name it, they'll sell it to you. All designed to part you from your hard-earned money. But in my opinion, never help you lose weight. Only treating the symptoms, but never offering a solution for the root cause. Keeping you a customer for life. The last thing they want is for you to discover the secret I'm about to reveal. Information that may very well save your life or that of someone you love. I'll show you the 7-second hack that allowed my wife Amy to effortlessly lose the stubborn body fat that had plagued her for years, boosting her energy levels, and in turn, revitalizing our sex life and marriage. Today, I'm offering you the chance to rid that old self-conscious you forever and feel confident no matter what situation life throws you. To never worry about people judging or ridiculing. To shed stubborn fat like clockwork from your hips, belly, arms, waist, thighs, and face. No longer having to worry about what your partner really thinks when they see you naked but are too polite to tell you. And the shame you feel when people watch you eat. Instead, you'll be able to eat whatever you want, whenever you want, without guilt or embarrassment. Your body starts to melt away the deadly visceral fat around your organs. Old baggy clothes you wore to hide your body are replaced with slim, figure-hugging, sexy ones you could have never dreamed of. Your energy, vitality, and enthusiasm returns to you in abundance, and you start to look younger as the glow and elasticity of youth returns to your skin and body, leaving you happier, healthier, and feeling more sexy than you have in years, even decades. Now is the time for you to free yourself from that stubborn fat once and for all. If that sounds good to you, then you'll want to stick around to the very end, because I promise you, you can melt away those extra pounds with nothing more than my crazy once-a-day 7-second routine. Yes, it's really that easy. So listen up and let me quickly introduce myself because we don't have much time. Hi, my name's Adrian Thomas. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not a guest lecturer at Yale. Instead, I'm a retired paramedic, father of 3 wonderful kids, and live with my wife Amy in California. I've served my community and the lives of many Americans for over 2 decades. I was on the ground helping during both Hurricanes Katrina and Rita in 2005. Every day I am reminded how precious and fragile life can be. And I've seen firsthand the devastation obesity has caused to people's health across our great nation. But considering the outright lies we are fed by the weight loss industry, and even though you think you're doing everything right, through no fault of your own, your weight continues to spiral out of control. And that's what happened to Amy. Her story may resonate with you as it did with many of our close friends. It all started over 30 years ago. We were high school sweethearts and both skinny as a rake. Like most young people, we took our health for granted, enjoying life and everything that came with it. Sure, we were young, but we knew we wanted to spend the rest of our lives together. So at just 22, we decided to marry, and shortly after, Amy fell pregnant. Life was perfect. During her pregnancy, she put on around 40 pounds, which never went away. Then she fell pregnant with our second, Melissa, and on went another 20 pounds. After our third child, she was 90 pounds heavier. She had become obese with a BMI of over 36. I saw Amy's demeanor change a lot over the years. She had become introverted and unhappy, a husk of the woman I loved. One day I walked in on her naked, checking her reflection in the bathroom mirror. She immediately grabbed a towel and covered up. I could see the tears welling. I could almost feel her shame and guilt for letting herself get like this. But Amy's defense mechanism was to always bury her head in the sand. She knew how much those pounds had added up, but she didn't want or know how to confront it, ignoring her need for larger clothes and the very real consequences on her health, such as being out of breath after walking up steps, as well as feeling ashamed about her appearance during intimate moments, and being afraid she was an unhealthy example for our kids. Eventually, we simply couldn't ignore it any longer. Our doctor confirmed what we both knew already. Amy had to lose weight or possibly suffer serious health issues, or worse. And of course, he recommended the standard procedure straight from the textbook, a calorie-controlled diet and exercise plan. And so the roller coaster of emotions began. Because with every success Amy had at losing weight, she would inevitably put it all back on shortly after, plus a little bit more. I mean, she tried everything. Keto, paleo, Atkins, vegetarian, vegan, juicing, fasting, hypnosis, yoga, Zumba, and even acupuncture. You name it, she tried it. Sure, some of them worked for a while, But the problem was that, like so many others, Amy couldn't stick to any of them, even though her life was on the line. And with every failure, she turned to comfort foods, and the vicious cycle continued. As time went by, her self-esteem collapsed and our relationship suffered. She became more distant. Her energy levels, vitality, and general well-being went rapidly downhill. So if you are watching this and feeling similar, I understand. Feelings of hopelessness when one more diet fails, the shame of looking at yourself naked in the mirror, the binging and endless roller coaster of emotions. I get it, because I saw Amy experience those things on a daily basis. But we pushed on, trusting the advice we were given by the doctors. And although the diets and exercise regimens were supposed to help, she kept piling on more and more and was unable to fight the intense cravings for sugary and starchy foods that overpowered her. And the heavier she got, the further I felt she was drifting away from the woman I'd fallen in love with. We found ourselves slipping into a boring and mundane existence. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. Constantly tired, agitated, and dissatisfied with life. We couldn't go on like this, so I decided to book a vacation. I remember that Amy told me it was her dream to visit Hawaii one day, so when I told her I had booked it, I was expecting her to be overjoyed. Instead, she immediately burst into tears. "Why have you done that? What am I going to wear? Do you think I want to sit by a swimming pool looking like this? I'm not going," she cried. I tried to console her, but it was pointless. "Look at me," she screamed, grabbing the fat around her belly. "You never look at me the way you used to." And although I tried telling her she's wrong, I knew deep down that she wasn't. You see, I loved her just as much as the day we got married, but the truth was, I didn't find her as attractive anymore. I wish I did, but I didn't. And she knew it too. She could see it in my eyes. I tried to put my arms around her to comfort her, but she pushed me away. "Don't touch me. I'm fat and disgusting, and I'm always going to be fat and disgusting. Get away from me." I hated seeing her like this, but I felt powerless because I didn't know what to do to help. And then it happened. Just when I thought we had hit rock bottom, things got a whole lot worse. I was upstairs when I heard her scream. "Amy, are you okay?" I shouted down, but there was no reply. I ran to the top of the stairs, and that's when I saw her. Her lifeless body slumped in a heap at the bottom. The weight had taken its toll, and she had blacked out while trying to climb the staircase. Or at least that's what she had told the doctors and me. That night, as I sat beside her hospital bed, staring at the walls and feeling my heart constrict in my chest, I imagined life without Amy, and the devastation it would cause to our family, our kids. It was at that very moment I vowed I'd do whatever it takes. I was determined to find a way to help her get healthy again and build her self-esteem, get my old Amy back. But she'd had spent most of her adult life torturing herself with diets and exercise, and look where she ended up. There must be another way. The thought of losing her broke my heart. She's my world. I had overheard the doctors discussing Amy's blood results. They were concerned about her hormones: insulin, cholesterol, estrogen, progesterone, and ghrelin in particular. So I asked our doctor exactly what they were looking for. "A lot of people her age can have hormone irregularities. It's normal," he said. "Normal?" I questioned. "Well," he said, "it's not really normal, but it is the norm nowadays." That got me thinking. With my medical training, I knew that hormones are what controls our appetite. Could Amy's overeating simply be a symptom of an underlying hormonal issue? So that night, as she lay there asleep, I got out my laptop and began my mission. I decided to start from the very beginning. What actually makes us fat? And the simple answer is hunger. Hunger makes us fat by telling our body when to eat. And hunger, unlike willpower, is an irresistible force, which means it always wins out in the end. But what actually causes hunger? I discovered that the answer was ghrelin, a hormone secreted naturally that tells us when to eat and when we're full. Ghrelin is known as the hunger hormone because it stimulates appetite, increases food intake, and promotes fat storage. When levels are high, we feel hungry and crave calories. And when levels are low, we feel full and satisfied. Sounds simple enough. But problems arise when ghrelin production goes into overdrive. Take a look at this image. At the top, we start to eat. As our stomach and fat cells expand, the body stops releasing ghrelin, which signals our body to stop eating. This should be the part where we would put the knife and fork down and we maintain a slim and sexy figure. But the problem is that some people's bodies keep on pumping out ghrelin, so their brain never gets the message that they're full. As a result, you continue to feel hungrier and hungrier even though you're eating more and more, resulting in a vicious cycle of overeating and never feeling full. Until before you know it, you've wolfed down an entire cake, a bag of chips, and an extra large soda. Now, not only are you still hungry, you're feeling sick, tired, and racked with guilt. And soon after, this never-ending cycle starts all over again. This is the same rut Amy had been in for years, and would explain why she had found it so hard to stick to those diets. And this is the same vicious cycle countless millions of others are finding themselves stuck in. You see, like I said earlier, hunger is an irresistible force. So it's not your fault that you cannot resist that extra dessert or sometimes wolf down a box of donuts. It comes down to your body's inability to turn off its hunger. But why wasn't this something that happened in our grandparents' era? Obesity was almost unheard of until the 60s. And if it was a hormonal problem, what was behind it? I couldn't find an answer to either question, but I knew I was onto something. If the constant hunger was simply a symptom of hormone issues, what was causing it? I spent months researching online, visiting libraries, and consulting with medical experts, but uncovered nothing new. Just the same old advice of eat less and exercise more. Advice which was no help to people like Amy or the countless others who were struggling. I felt like I'd hit a brick wall, and after hundreds of hours of research, I was no further forward. I didn't know where to turn. Sadly, I was close to giving up. Every night I prayed hard to God for help. Then one miraculous day, I'm sure He heard my prayers. It was early last year, March the 15th to be exact. I remember it like it was yesterday, because it was one of those rare times Amy had agreed to go out in public. We traveled upstate to her sister's wedding, and it was there that I met a man who totally changed our lives forever. I'm going to call him Chen. I can't tell you his real name for reasons that will become clear in a minute. Amy's sister was marrying a Chinese-American guy, and Chen was a cousin of his who had come over from Beijing for the wedding. He was sitting next to me at the table. A super nice guy, and his English was perfect. We hit it off immediately and ended up talking for ages. He told me about life in China, his love of baseball, my favorite sport, and what he did for work. He is a leading research scientist for the Chinese government's health department. And the more we talked and drank, the more we both opened up. Before I knew it, most of the other guests had left. Amy was so tired she could barely stay awake, so she made her excuses and left. She gets tired easily, I told Chen, and I talked about her health and what the doctors had said. She's tried everything to keep the weight off, but nothing seems to work. My eyes filled with tears, and then I broke down. I'm so scared I'm going to lose her. I'm not sure if I could go on. Chen's face went totally serious. He seemed hesitant at first, but he could see I was in so much pain and that I'd pretty much given up all hope. He took a deep breath and told me something that chilled me to the bone. A shocking secret that he'd been forced to keep quiet about for years. You see, China has always been a nation of thin and healthy people. We took pride in this fact, he told me. And the government had enlisted our department to find the cause of the obesity epidemic that had suddenly exploded over the past decade. Something had drastically changed. People were getting more and more overweight, and even obesity rates in children had spiraled out of control. We spent years poring through thousands and thousands of published scientific studies from throughout the world trying to find some kind of link. And what we eventually discovered was truly shocking. It wasn't actually diet or lack of exercise that was causing the problem. You see, There was one thing that didn't add up with all of the conclusions and recommendations that the doctors were making, he told me. A person doing the same level of exercise and eating exactly the same number of calories in 2006 as in 1988 would have a BMI almost 2.5 points higher. This equals a whole extra 10% of body mass. They also don't explain those annoyingly thin people that can eat whatever they want, do no exercise, and never gain an ounce. Yet most of us just have to look at a burger and put on 10 pounds. How does that figure in the calories in, calories out model? He then revealed what he called the 3 biggest lies of the weight loss industry. You know those massive corporations? The ones who sell you healthy shakes, meals, and exercise plans? They know full well that they don't work. All of the countless medical studies make this abundantly clear to anyone who has bothered to look. And I assure you they have looked. You see, the whole industry is a giant fraud. Its only purpose is to separate you from your hard-earned money. They don't care that it doesn't work. In fact, they don't want it to work, because that way they can keep selling you their stuff. Their business model will be destroyed if the world finds out they can break free and lose weight naturally without their useless diets and exercises. It's big business, and a business they will fight to protect. One big lie that costs us over $250 billion each year. Sure, you may lose a few pounds in the first weeks or months with their plans, but research shows that 95% regain that lost weight within 1 year, and most put on even more on top. Which brings us to the big weight loss lie number 1. That dieting helps you lose weight. It doesn't. A huge study involving over 4,500 subjects found that among both men and women, irregular eating and continuous attempts to lose weight were the 2 key factors that actually predicted weight gain. This has to do with how we're built, Chen explained. You see, in the distant past, we didn't have access to 7-Elevens or Whole Foods. We never knew when we were going to get the next meal. So when we got food, our body had to somehow find a way to make it last until whenever it thought the next time was going to be. We evolved to store the energy as fat, meaning we could still stay active and alive when there was no food available, even for days. It used our hormones, the body's chemical messenger, to regulate this. So that's why when you starve or deprive yourself of particular nutrients, including fats and carbs, your hormones will tell you to eat and store as much as possible to prepare for the famine it thinks is about to happen. Therefore, eating less actually causes you to store fat. So, in order to actually lose weight and keep it off forever, you need to deal with your hormones, not your food. Something we'll talk about in more detail in a minute. Which brings us to big weight loss lie number 2. This one was shocking to me, and it's related to exercise. I mean, how often do you hear that to lose fat, you must grind away hour upon hour of tedious exercise? The thinking goes that exercise helps you burn calories, so helps you lose weight. While this may sound like logical sense, it simply isn't true. A study published in the American Journal of Medicine that reviewed and analyzed 14 randomized controlled trials of over 1,800 people concluded that isolated aerobic exercise is not an effective weight loss therapy in obese or overweight patients. This is thought to be due to people tending to vastly overestimate how much energy they actually burn, so end up overcompensating. Excessive exercise also causes an increase in cortisol, also known as the stress hormone, which has been shown to encourage fat storage, particularly around the belly and face. So, in other words, all those hours of grinding away hour upon boring hour on the exercise cycle can be for nothing, even though that's exactly what most trainers and weight loss companies recommend. And with that, Chen revealed big weight loss lie number 3. Overweight and obese people have a slower metabolism. This is not only totally false, but the exact opposite is true. Research shows that overweight people have a faster metabolism than thinner people. This is because larger bodies require more energy to carry out basic functions. Certain crash diets and other calorie-restricted ones can actually slow your metabolism down. Your body is forced to break down muscle to use for energy. The lower your muscle mass, the slower your metabolism. It then becomes a lot easier to put fat back on after coming off the diet. So if you've been told these 3 things before, that lack of exercise, not dieting enough, or a sluggish metabolism is the reason you're overweight, you've been purposely lied to. These factors have no influence whatsoever on the long-term number on your scale, because they don't address the real root cause. What is the real root cause, I asked. He thought for a moment and then took a pitcher from the center of the table. He poured the contents into a glass and placed it in front of me. "This is," he said as he pointed to the glass. Water?" I asked. "Yes and no. You see, what you think is a glass of fresh, clean water is actually teeming with little foreign particles, and these are what's making us fat." "Serious?" I said with a chuckle. "Deadly," he answered, without a hint of sarcasm. "You see, this water contains millions of microscopic pieces of plastic. And this plastic is made up of chemicals that can actually cause you to store fat." "Plastic?" I asked. "How do you know there's plastic in it?" "It's in practically all drinking water on the planet. You see, when plastic is disposed of, it can't biodegrade. But what happens is that over time it starts to break down into smaller and smaller pieces, eventually becoming what is known as microplastics. These particles of plastics are so tiny that you can't even spot them with the naked eye. But they are now everywhere, in our rivers, our seas, our fish, even the very air you breathe. They've even been found in rain, and filtration systems can't remove them because they're too small, so they end up in our tap water. And here is something that will shock you. The average person unknowingly eats, swallows, and breathes in thousands of tiny pieces of plastic each week, an amount that equals the weight of a credit card. A week! Now, stay with me here for a minute, because this is where it gets very interesting. Plastic is found all over the world in millions of different products, and scientists are only just now beginning to understand how harmful it can be. You see, it's made up of many different chemicals, some of which are obesogens, meaning they make you fat. Obesogens are chemicals that are endocrine or hormonal disruptors. They wreak havoc on your hormone health. That includes those hormones that control hunger and how many calories you consume get burned right away and how many are stored as fat. A shocking 2015 Canadian study also found that when normal stem cells are exposed to obesogens, they can actually mutate into fat cells. Another study in Japan confirmed this by showing cells which would normally become connective tissue became fat cells when obesogens were added. Chen took out his phone and showed me this video. This is what happens when regular stem cells are exposed to obesogens. They turn into fat cells and expand instantly. Shocking, right? And that's what obesogens found in microplastics are doing to your body all day long. That's why it's so hard to lose weight no matter what you try. And it's the reason that keeping the pounds off long term is almost impossible. Now, there are many types of obesogens, of which bisphenol A, or BPA as it's known, is one of the most widely known. BPA can be found in thousands of different types of products, from kids' toys, clothing, cosmetics like body wash, shampoo, and toothpaste, all the way up to food packaging, canned goods, and even baby bottles. A team from the Department of Neuroscience in Ontario found that when they fed mice low doses of BPA, far lower than the amounts considered to be safe by the FDA, their hormones started freaking out and they quickly ballooned in size. Some countries have even taken the step of banning BPA in anything that comes in contact with food. But the chemicals they have replaced it with are arguably worse. And it's not just plastics that contain these obesogens. They are also found in your car exhaust fumes, especially diesel, as well as in commonly used pesticides, and even the nonstick coating on pots and pans we cook with. That's why it's almost impossible to avoid exposure. And countless studies have directly linked these obesogens to excessive ghrelin, leptin, hunger, and obesity, regardless of age, genetics, diet, metabolism, or even activity level. So your hunger pangs and weight gain has been scientifically proven to be unstoppable because of these man-made chemicals that are floating throughout your body. wreaking havoc with your hormones and causing normal cells to turn into expanded fat cells. Just consider the following. This graph shows the rise in obesity rates over the years. Like I said, obesity was pretty much non-existent before the 1950s. But fast forward to today, 72% of us are overweight. Now look at this. The blue line shows the rise in synthetic chemical production over the years, and the red one, the rates of diabetes. Notice how they match almost exactly. But what I was told next by Chen was even more shocking. He had taken all of his data that proved conclusively that it was chemical obesogens that were to blame for this massive crisis and showed it to the head of his department. The very next day, he was told to destroy the research and never speak of it again. And if any of the findings were leaked, there would be serious consequences for him and his family. So he had no choice but to bury it. He went on to explain that China is the largest producer of chemicals and plastics in the world by a very large margin. So the Chinese government were terrified of a global backlash if the effects were exposed, because it could destroy their economy. So instead of risking that, they decided to hide it. It finally all made perfect sense. The out-of-control obesity crisis really wasn't being caused by the junk food and lazy lifestyles like we are constantly being told. It was actually things like microplastics and modern-day pollution that were causing hormonal problems, making it virtually impossible for us to lose the weight and keep it off, no matter what we do, and no matter how hard we try. Exactly what was happening with Amy. Now, although these dangerous substances are wreaking havoc inside every person who struggles with weight loss, the truth is, your belly, arm, hip, and thigh fat are not a life sentence. It's actually reversible, explained Chen. You see, although my research was shut down, I was still extremely worried for my family and friends. After all, wasn't it my duty to protect them if I could? I didn't want them continually being poisoned by all these toxic substances, causing them to spiral into obesity and major health issues. But although I now knew the real root cause, what could be done? I couldn't make the whole world stop using plastics, cars, or all of those other obesogenic pollutants. In fact, even if we did, wouldn't make much difference, because the toxins are already everywhere in our environment. It could take hundreds or even thousands of years to clean up this mess, and that wouldn't help us right now. So I figured that my only option was to try to find a way to detoxify these obesogens from our body, to try to reverse the damage already done and protect against it in the future. So I spent every waking moment researching to find a solution, going through years and years of medical studies. It was a long, hard struggle, but I eventually made a breakthrough, and it came from a very unusual place. I stumbled across an article in a scientific journal. It wrote of a small village in the outskirts of Tibet. The people there seemingly had the lowest rates of diabetes and heart disease in the world, and their average life expectancy was 25% higher than anywhere else. But no one could figure out why. This was extremely interesting, because it seemed to confirm the direct link between toxic pollution and people's health, as it's likely these villagers haven't been exposed to many obesogenic compounds. I mean, everything I'd heard about Tibet makes me think of pristine snow-capped mountains and fresh, clean water and air. But when I got to the end of the article, I discovered something that threw me. Apparently, located right next to this village was a large Chinese mining operation. And I know how much pollution they produce, so that theory was out the window. I decided the best thing was to go and investigate for myself. So I made the long trek to the Tibetan village. When I arrived, I settled into a small guest house and went about befriending the locals and trying to uncover what was happening. Their air and water was indeed heavily polluted from the close mine, but the people seemed very healthy, and I noticed that very few were overweight. Many of them also looked years younger than their true ages. The more I looked around, the more apparent it was that something really strange was up, but I couldn't figure out what. Then one morning, the landlady of the guest house offered me a cup of tea. I accepted, and after she poured, I took a big swig and instantly spat it out all over her beautiful white tablecloth. "I am so sorry, but what is this? It tastes awful," I exclaimed. It was clearly not like any kind of tea that I had ever tasted. The landlady was extremely embarrassed and apologized profusely. She explained that this was their local special tea, and legend was that if you drank a cup of it every day, you would be protected and live a long and healthy life, and that it would ward off all sickness and pain. The people of the village had drank it for generations, so were used to the strong, bitter taste. "Where did you get it from?" I asked. She told me that it's a traditional blend that has been brewed in the local monastery for thousands of years. The monks sold it to the villagers and then would use any money they made to feed and house the poor. I asked if she could give me directions, and I set off. I made my way up a narrow stone staircase set into a steep hill to the monastery in the distance. When I eventually arrived at its large wooden doors, I rang an old rusty bell hanging from a piece of rope. After several minutes, they creaked open and a friendly-looking monk greeted me. I told him that I was very interested in learning about the tea. "It's our secret elixir," he whispered. "The recipe has been passed down through generations, and it has magical healing properties." I was, of course, very skeptical, but asked if I could perhaps buy some. He nodded, asked me to wait, and disappeared inside. A couple of minutes later, he returned, clutching a small wooden box. He handed it to me, and I peered inside, discovering a strange-smelling mixture of what looked like ground herbs and spices. "What's it made of?" I inquired. "Unfortunately, that's something I can't reveal," the monk replied. "It has been our traditional recipe for over 2,000 years, and it is a grave violation of the monastic code for me to share the ingredients with anyone." "No problem," I said. "I completely understand. How should I prepare it?" "Just stir a heaped spoonful of the mixture into the cup of warm water and let it sit for 7 seconds. No more, no less," he told me. I paid him, gave my thanks, and set off back to the guest house. The next morning, I packed and headed home, clutching the small wooden box close to me. The minute I arrived, I went straight to the lab and began trying to reverse engineer the contents. And I was very surprised at what I discovered. The first ingredient was Asian green tea leaf. Green tea is actually great at reducing oxidative stress and has been shown in several laboratory studies to help reduce damage caused by chemicals such as BPA. It has also been shown to stimulate glucuronidation, a detoxification pathway used for eliminating toxins from the body. The next ingredient was something called Asian ginseng, also known as Panax ginseng. According to scientific research, it enhances mood, supports immunity, and delays the appearance of aging. But more importantly, research shows that it also detoxifies the body quickly from foreign pollutants. Next up, I identified olive leaves, an agonist to the TGR5 receptor. This means it can boost your metabolism by supporting thyroid function and your body's hormone levels. And in addition, I found several other important active compounds, including quercetin, a well-known super antioxidant that can help protect cells from damage by the free radicals that are slowing down your metabolism and causing premature signs of aging. Turmeric, shown to reverse many of the harmful effects of chemical exposure and dramatically decreasing oxidative stress throughout the body. And various types of Asian mushrooms, including shiitake, reishi, and maitake, all of which are chock full of hypolipemic fat-reducing properties. It also contained grapeseed, which detoxifies your body of cadmium, a harmful obesogen that can be found in foods like cereals, nuts, and vegetables. "I couldn't believe what I was seeing," exclaimed Chen. Here were all natural ingredients that, when combined, managed to seemingly counteract the harmful effects of toxic obesogens. And these monks that made it for generations probably didn't even know what an obesogen was. It seemed to support healthy hormone levels, reduce fat storage, and stop the uncontrollable cravings, whilst at the same time helping to support a healthy heart, brain, and joints. That would explain why the villagers who, even though they lived in a toxic environment, managed to live longer, seem younger, and were of a healthier weight. I was still skeptical but excited at the same time. But above all, I wanted to help my friends and family, explained Chen. I knew all the ingredients in the tea were natural, and had been taken successfully for generations by the villagers, who managed to live a long and healthy life, so I was positive it wasn't dangerous. I asked my good friend and neighbor who had been seriously overweight for years if he'd be willing to put it to the test. He was more than happy to give anything that might work a try, so I mixed him a cup of the foul-tasting tea every evening. The results? Well, they were more than spectacular. In just 3 days, he had higher energy, better mood, and felt an increased zest for life. And by the end of the first week, he'd lost over 5 pounds. He hadn't made a single change to his lifestyle. He didn't do any exercise, didn't change his diet, still eating all the unhealthy foods he loved so much. How is this possible? Maybe it was the placebo effect, I rationalized, and he was going to regain the lost weight quickly. Yet by the end of the second week, he dropped another 5 pounds. And after just 1 month, he'd lost over 20. The results were totally incredible. Unfortunately, the supply from the monk had almost run out, and I needed more to give to my friends and family. Me too. So I set about making a new batch. I even improved on it by adding in several other natural ingredients that I was sure would make it even more potent. One was cat's claw, an Amazonian vine that reduces fatigue while slowing down the effects of aging. And another was a superfruit from Brazil called graviola. The Brazilians use it to help them lose weight. It also increases energy levels and helps boost their immune system. The formula now contains a total of 20 natural extracts and super nutrients, making it even more powerful and effective than the monks. We have been taking it for over 3 years now, with amazing results across the board. And more importantly, 0 negative side effects. I would love to get this out there to help more people, but the risk to my family from our government is just too high. Even if I left China, we would be looking over our shoulders for the rest of our lives. Adrian, I know we've just met, but I feel your intense pain. You seem a very good, open-hearted person. You've spent most of your life helping others, so I'm going to share the full recipe with you. But you must promise that after you have used it for your wife, you try to help as many others as possible. He then grabbed a napkin from the table, borrowed a pen from the waiter, and started writing furiously. When he was done, he thrust the formula in my hand. "There you go," he said. "Just follow these instructions exactly, and give it to your wife every evening before bed. I promise that in no time you're going to be amazed with the results." With that, we both stood up, I gave Chen a big thankful bear hug, and he wished me good night and started to leave. He stopped before reaching the door, turned around and chuckled, "Don't forget to warn Amy about the taste." Then he left. Over the next couple of weeks, I searched high and low for all of the ingredients on the list. They ended up costing hundreds of dollars, and it took days to prepare the tea to Chen's exact specifications. I had to extract the seeds and leaves, let them dry, grind them down, and measure them into exactly the right ratios. It was very time-intensive to create even just this small amount. But I reasoned that if it indeed worked for Amy as Chen promised, it would all be worth it. In the future, I could try buying the ingredients in larger quantities and have a professional natural formulator do the preparation for me, cutting down the costs and time it would take to prepare. Then we'd have a supply that could last us months. But first, I just wanted to see the results. It took a little while to convince Amy to try it, though. Because of all her past failures, she didn't believe anything could work. But in the end, she reluctantly agreed. So that night, I prepared the mixture for her. She took a sip and immediately started gagging. I literally had to beg her to drink the rest. She said it was the most disgusting thing she'd ever tasted, that it better work. The next morning, she told me that she'd slept better than she had in years, and had literally bounced out of bed with buckets of energy. By that same evening, something incredible had happened. Before she took her next tea, she stood on the bathroom scale and she'd lost 2 whole pounds. Still, Amy was worried that this would all be temporary and she would regain that lost weight quickly. But by the end of the second week, she had dropped another 10. And it didn't stop there, because after just 4 weeks, she had lost an incredible 67 pounds. She even went to her sister's house to step on her scale as she thought ours must be malfunctioning. She also couldn't believe her eyes when she looked in the mirror. Her stubborn love handles and belly bulge were disappearing. She started fitting into her favorite dresses that she hadn't worn in years, and her face looked younger and more radiant than it had in at least a decade. Her skin had improved, and her wrinkles and worry lines appeared to have flattened out completely. Her arms were tight again. Her hips were slender, her stomach flat. She looked hot. Every single trace of her pregnancy fat was gone. People kept asking for her secret. Men were turning their heads to check her out. Plus, she had so much more energy, even her hair seemed shinier, fuller, and thicker, just like in high school. The doctors were shocked. They couldn't believe a transformation like this was possible without strenuous exercise and a punishing diet. But the day that the change really sunk in for me, I came home from work and saw Amy in just a pair of leggings and a sports bra. She hadn't worn clothes this tight in decades. Her tiny, flat stomach was on display while she was confidently walking through the house. She looked absolutely incredible, and something stirred inside me that I hadn't felt in years. However, I was worried she might feel self-conscious, that if I tried to give her a hug, she'd shrug me off as had happened countless times before. But I couldn't help myself, so I wrapped my arms around her, pulling her close to me. It was then that I felt an ease within her that I hadn't experienced for a very long time. She melted, looked at me with a sparkle in her eyes, started to kiss me, and then grabbed my hand and led me to the bedroom. And we had the most amazing, passionate time of our lives. As we lay there glowing in each other's arms, giddy and love again in a way we hadn't been for a very long time, neither of us could believe it. We had done it. Amy was her old self again. The excess belly, arm, legs, and hip fat that had plagued her for so long was gone. Her body was back to how it was in her 20s, and she had done it without any strenuous exercise or dieting. It was at this point that I was convinced it was a miracle. God had blessed us by revealing the most amazing health formula ever. I wanted to share it with the world. But first, I wanted to make sure that Amy's success wasn't just a one-off, that it would work for others in the same way. People who were suffering most with uncontrolled hunger and weight gain. So I posted an ad on Craigslist asking for volunteers who'd be willing to put our fat-burning formula to the test. They had to be over 40, very overweight, and unable to keep the weight off no matter their diet or how much they exercised. In just 5 days, we had 62 people all suffering from varying levels of obesity who were willing to try it out. And after 90 days, the results were more incredible than any of us could have ever imagined. The average weight loss in the group was 55 pounds. In fact, all of them had lost at least 40, and 95% lost over 60 pounds. Most experienced increased energy, better mood, enhanced sex drive and performance, and several of them could even see their abs for the first time ever. The formula had actually worked on everyone, regardless of how much they had to lose, their metabolism, their genetics, and their previous failed attempts at trying to lose weight. In fact, the best results seemed to be for those who struggled the most in the past. Here we had a natural treatment for addressing even the worst cases of uncontrolled belly fat. It contains no harmful chemicals, doesn't require a prescription, and works automatically. Not only for Amy, but for Chen, his friends and family, generations of Tibetans, and now I knew it would work for everyone else too. That's why I'm sharing this incredible discovery with you here today. I want you to be our next amazing success story. And one day, hopefully, we'll be able to turn Chen's powerful natural remedy into the standard treatment for obesity, instead of all those harmful, ineffective medications that are being overprescribed daily, or countless exercise and nutrition plans that just don't work. I figure that to make people sit up and take notice, I'll need to get as many life-changing stories as possible. Your success is my only weapon against the big pharma companies, who are undoubtedly going to try hard to stop us, because they can't patent any of the natural ingredients in this formula. So trying to replicate it doesn't make any sense. It would end up costing them billions in lost profits they make by treating the symptoms and consequences rather than the root cause. We are an absolute nightmare for them. I know that they're going to do whatever they can to shut us down, blocking us from getting into the pharmacies and health food shops. That's why we've decided not to delay another day and make the formula available on this site right now. We call it ProVen. It's the most powerful and effective natural detoxifier in the world. And it's the first ever all-natural treatment that targets the actual root cause of excess body fat through obesogens and pollution exposure. In fact, we're so confident that it's going to be a game changer that we took our whole life savings and found a highly reputable natural health supplement manufacturer to produce it for us. They are both GMP certified and FDA registered. And everything is made here in the U.S. to guarantee the highest possible levels of purity, potency, and safety. They source the best quality ingredients and plant extracts and manage to formulate them into small and easy-to-swallow capsules. So, no more foul-tasting tea, but the same incredible results. And we ship them straight to your door. The capsules are non-GMO, vegetarian, and do not contain any dangerous stimulants or toxins. Because, let's be honest, you should never take risks when it comes to your health. And that's why we won't cut any corners. Losing weight with ProVen is so simple and much more effective than exercise or any diet plan being pushed by the so-called fitness experts and nutritionists. It has already helped 74,820 ordinary people to transform their waist size, energy levels, health, and lives. People like Rose McMahon from Glenview, Illinois. Rose was so excited with her results, she reached out and asked us to share her story. After struggling with my weight for as long as I can remember, I had almost given up hope of ever being slim. I've tried so many things in the past: keto, Atkins, fasting, exercise, smoothies, but nothing seemed to work for me. So I was extremely skeptical when my friend recommended ProVen to me. But as it's 100% natural, I saw no harm in trying. And wow! This stuff really works. 4 weeks in and I've already lost 18 pounds and still dropping fast. I'm so pleased I found ProVen. It really is changing my life. If anyone is on the fence about this, I highly recommend you give it a try. And Rose isn't alone. Every day we hear similar stories from around the world. Here's an email we got from Kathy in Ottawa, Canada. Hi Adrian. Just a quick email to let you know how my weight loss has been progressing. I've been taking ProVen for 2 months now, and the results are simply amazing. I've dropped 43 pounds and am now down to a size 14. I'm still not where I want to be yet, but I think in another month or so, I'll get there. Please, please, please don't stop making this miracle stuff. It's been a game changer for me. And another from Nigel in the UK. Hi guys. I wanted to say a big thank you to everyone involved with the ProVen supplements. I've been using it for around 3 weeks now and can definitely say this stuff works like crazy. I have lost 17 pounds so far without any sickness, bloating, or the nasty side effects I've got from the other diet pills I've tried. My energy and mood is up, and I can actually see myself getting thinner on a daily basis. This formula is amazing. I have just ordered another 3 bottles for my wife because she is astounded and very jealous with my results. Thanks again. And you too can experience these exact same incredible results when you give ProVen a try. Imagine how it's going to feel when your friends are green with envy at your incredible body transformation, begging you for your secret. Imagine never having to endure the pain and frustrations of yo-yo dieting and depriving yourself of your favorite foods again. Just imagine it for a second. Truly let yourself feel what it would be like. How much would that be worth? $10,000? $100,000? $1 million? It is, of course, not something that you can put a price tag on because the results are priceless. But trust me, I am not in this to make money. I truly want to help as many people as possible, God willing. But for this formula to work, the ingredients need to be of the highest quality. So to keep the price low and to be able to cover my costs, as well as getting this message out to as many people and as quickly as possible, I'm willing to let you have it today at the lowest price possible. So you're not going to need to pay anything like $10,000. You won't even have to pay the $600 that a business consultant suggested was fair, or even half that. The amount I charge for a 1-month supply of ProVen is just $297. But instead of you paying that amount today, I'm going to do something that's somewhat risky. You see, although $297 is more than a fair price, especially when you consider that many customers have told us that without all those cravings, they are saving more than that alone in food costs every month. But I know the fear, pain, and helplessness of watching your loved ones gain pound after pound and not being able to do anything to help. And that's something I don't want others to experience. You see, the last thing I want is for anyone else to needlessly suffer like Amy did for so long, just for the reason of not being able to afford this solution. So I'm not going to ask you for $297. I'm not even going to ask you for half of that. Today, I'm going to give you a full 30-day supply of ProVen for a simple one-time fee of only $67. Yep, that's right, just $67. But I can't keep it at that price. It's going to be very costly to fight the big corporations, to try getting it on the shelves of major health stores, and then I'll have to charge everyone the full $297. So you'll need to act now to guarantee you won't be paying more. But before you secure your supply, I need to make something very clear. To see the best health-changing benefits and maximum weight loss results, you're going to want to take ProVen for at least 90 days straight. That's because after so many years of your body being overloaded with toxins, it will need enough time to properly detoxify and reinvigorate your whole body. And because I can't promise how long I'll be able to keep it at today's price, I would hate when you come back to order your next 30-day supply, you'll find that either the price has gone up, or even worse, that the big corporations have somehow managed to close me down. So I strongly suggest that you secure enough to last you 90 days at the very least, because I would absolutely hate for you to end up being disappointed. So here's the deal. When you order 3 bottles of ProVen today, I'm going to let you have them for just $57 each. Better still, order 6 bottles and I'll give them to you today for only $47 each. That's a huge $1,500 savings for you. Plus, if that wasn't enough, as an added bonus, for every order of 3 or more bottles, I am going to ship them to you today for free. But these massive discounts and free shipping are only available right here, right now. If you leave this page without securing your discount, I can't promise you'll see this opportunity again. So do the right thing for yourself and your loved ones right now. You'll see 3 money-saving options below this video. Select your package and then click the Buy Now button to proceed to our 256-bit secure order page that looks like this. Fill in your information and confirm your order to our 100% safe and secure order form, and we'll get your package sent directly to your door right away. And don't worry, this is a one-time payment only, with no subscriptions or hidden charges. I dislike those things as much as you do. But to avoid disappointment, you're going to need to act fast. Click below to secure your package. Don't let the low price today fool you. ProVen is extremely powerful, and I'm convinced it will work for you, as it has for the 74,820 others who have tried it. But I get if you're a little skeptical. I completely understand. I was too at first. After all, we've been lied to and manipulated our entire lives into believing that diet and exercise are the only paths to losing weight. Because of course, the billion-dollar weight loss industry will never tell you that there's a quick, easy, and natural way to burn belly fat and curb hunger. So here's what I'm going to do for you. To prove how confident I am that this formula will work for you, and so you have absolutely no risk, I'm prepared to back your order with a 100% satisfaction guarantee that works like this. If within 60 days you are unhappy with your results, I'll give you every cent of your money back. That's right. Send me an email and I'll pay you every cent back. No questions asked. Even if the bottle is completely empty. Who else has the confidence to make such a bold promise like that? But I'm willing to put it on the line because I know you'll finally be able to reach that slim figure you're after. In fact, if ProVen didn't work for you, I wouldn't want to keep your money anyway, Just let me know if you're not fully satisfied and I will insist on refunding you. Does that sound fair? So this is one of the easiest decisions of your life. But again, I urge you to act now to secure your supply with this deal. ProVen is so effective that word is starting to spread extremely fast. Men and women all across the world are now discovering this amazing formula for themselves, and most are ordering a long-term supply just in case. Not just losing fat in the short term, but keeping it off for good, detoxifying their system and returning their body to its former glory. It's incredibly satisfying for me to receive so many thank you letters and before and after pictures. And that's why demand is looking like it could start to outpace supply. The high-quality ingredients are not easy to source, so stock could run out with very little notice. And when it does, it could be 6 months or even longer before we're able to get more. I would hate for that to happen to you. Because once you finally start to shed that unwanted body fat and reveal the sexy figure that lies underneath, the last thing you want to see when you come back to this site is an out-of-stock message. I promise it's not a risk worth taking. So make sure you secure enough today so that you don't have that worry. As soon as you place your order, we'll get your supply in the mail immediately. You'll be able to start right away. You'll take just 2 easy-to-swallow capsules every day with your evening meal, and watch as your body transforms before your eyes. Your clothes will feel looser after the first week. You'll feel lighter than before, and your midsection will have already started to look smaller. Energy levels will return. Your friends and family will wonder what in the world you've been doing to achieve such an incredible transformation. And don't forget, you have a full 60 days, 2 whole months to test it out risk-free. That's why this is one of the easiest decisions of your life. It's time to take action now for your figure and health. Take back control and start living the right way with a self-confidence you may not have experienced in years. You might not realize it, but right now you're standing at an important crossroads. You can choose to go down 2 very different paths. One that leads to a lifetime of energy and passion where you'll love your new body and turn heads wherever you go, feeling proud when you look in the mirror, and where you no longer suffer complicated diets, rigorous exercise programs, or unnecessary health complications. The other, you can continue down the same old path you've always been on. So listen closely to your options so that you can make the choice that's right for you. Option number 1. Choose to do exactly what the mainstream health industry wants. Keep on dieting, exercising, and perhaps losing a bit of weight just to regain the lost pounds shortly after. If you go for this option, keep in mind that you'll never be able to just eat what you want. And you'll most probably never break free from the cycle of yo-yo dieting and endless amounts of frustration and self-doubt. That's the way the weight loss industry is set up. They don't want you to reach your goals because that way you'll keep spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars on their expensive products. I bet you already know the outcome of taking this option because you've experienced it many times before. That feeling of hopelessness, of being trapped in a body you hate, of feeling guilty because you're not grinding away hour upon hour every week in the gym. Wondering why it's so hard for you to obtain and, most importantly, maintain that slim and sexy figure. That feeling of getting heavier and more exhausted week after week. Wondering why you've lost that youthful body and zest for life. I know you don't want that. The average American spends $111,500 over their lifetime in an attempt to lose weight. And that's just the financial cost. The terrible impact on confidence, energy levels, health, and relationships is even worse. So would you truly want to take such a risk just to save a few dollars? Because the truth is, if you've made it this far through my message, I know you're sick of being a prisoner to your unwanted stomach and body fat, of pretending you're okay with how you are right now, even though you know that you're not. Yearning for that slender figure of your youth. And the reality is that it may get even worse if you don't take action right now. Your arms and legs could expand even more until you can't wear your favorite blouse or pants. Nobody has the right to judge someone else, But the reality is, this is the world we live in. Comments like, "Wow, you've really let yourself go," and snide remarks about your weight cut deep. It can suck the soul from you as quickly as the weight is piled on. I know, I saw it happen with Amy, which is why I urge you to take a second and seriously consider choosing option number 2. Because let's face it, this is the only real option you have. All you have to do is invest a one-time payment in ProVen today and put the formula to a risk-free test for 60 days. Just imagine what you'll look like in just a few weeks from now. You'll be standing in front of your mirror with a tape measure in your hands and a smile on your face that won't disappear. Your stomach, arms, and hips so lean you'll think it's not your body. You'll have to pinch yourself to prove it's really you. Imagine how good that will feel. No more shame or guilt over another failed exercise or diet plan. No more worrying about following bland and boring diets, waving your favorite foods goodbye. No more low energy levels that zap you of your zest for life and hurt your relationships with the people that you care about the most. No more feeling disgusted about what your partner thinks of you or of your expanded midsection when you look in the mirror. And no more counting calories or trying useless fads. You've already gone through almost this entire message, so it's clear you're serious about getting into the best shape and health of your life. But the decision is yours. Now, we're being honest and open with each other, and I don't want you to miss out. So if you want to opt for the smart decision, click a package below to place your order. And don't forget, when you order 3 bottles or more, your shipping is completely free of charge, and you won't be enrolled in an automatic billing subscription or anything similar. Also remember that you're covered by our 60-day money-back guarantee. So even if you're not thrilled with your new slim and sexy figure after you finish your supply, simply let us know for a full and immediate refund. That's why there is no risk here, and there's no way you can go wrong. So if you want to get that slim and slender figure that catches eyes wherever you go, that turns your friends green with envy, then I urge you to select your package by clicking a Buy Now button below before supplies run out. I can't wait to hear about your success. Still here? You probably have some questions. That's totally understandable. These are some of the most common ones our customers ask. What kind of results can I expect from ProVen? I like to categorize the results into 3 stages. First, you'll feel much better overall. Increased energy, clearer thoughts, and restful sleep. Think back a decade or 2. That's how you'll feel again. Second, you'll look better. Your skin and face will look brighter and healthier. Your fine lines and wrinkles will start to vanish. Finally, ProVen will help you get rid of that excess body fat and keep it off. I'm positive this formula is the secret to a slim and sexy figure for everybody. Your current situation doesn't matter. Whether you have 10, 50, or more than 100 pounds to lose is irrelevant. How long will it take to see results? Everybody is different, and that's why the time it takes to get results varies. What I can tell you is that most people notice their clothes feel looser after just the first week. Their belly also starts to look smaller and they begin to feel lighter. Even better is that the longer you use ProVen, the better your results tend to become. In most cases, friends and family will start to beg you for your secret before just 60 days. What if it doesn't work? If you're skeptical, I understand. I was too. But I am 100% sure that ProVen will work for you, the same way it's already worked for 74,820 others. Still, I know that the only way you're going to be totally convinced is by trying this amazing formula and experiencing the incredible transformation for yourself. That's why I want you to feel completely comfortable when you order today. So just try ProVen out, and if you're not totally thrilled with the results, simply email me for a full and courteous refund, no questions asked. How can something so powerful be safe? What are the side effects? ProVen is an all-natural formula that contains only ingredients that are completely safe. We've not experienced a single negative side effect yet after having tens of thousands of people taking it. And to ensure the highest quality and safety standards, ProVen is manufactured here in the United States. In other words, you can rest assured that what you're getting is fully compliant with GMP safety standards. How often do I have to take ProVen? How big is each capsule? The capsules are small and easy to swallow. They're about the size of an average multivitamin, and you'll get the full benefit with just 2 capsules a day. That's all there is to it. With that, you get a powerful dose of all the potent fat-burning nutrients. Can I buy ProVen at my local supplement shop? Is it available anywhere else? You can't find ProVen in stores or anywhere else yet. Only on this page. ProVen is manufactured here in the U.S. and is guaranteed for the highest possible levels of purity, potency, and safety. We never cut corners because you shouldn't take risks when it comes to your health. What if I lose the weight too fast? I know it can be exciting to see the results you've desired for so long, and it's especially delightful to see such results quickly. But some people who take ProVen lose weight faster than they hoped. And if that's the case for you, take only 1 capsule a day instead of 2. I know ProVen is backed by science, but are you sure it'll work for me? ProVen contains ingredients that are proven to work, regardless of whether you're 20, 40, or 80, and no matter your weight or background. So yes, I'm 100% sure this will work for you. That's why I'm letting you try this breakthrough formula completely risk-free. It's simple. If within 60 days you are not totally thrilled with your results, let me know and you'll receive every invested penny back, even if the bottle is empty. That's why it's a no-brainer. You simply have nothing to lose except for unwanted body fat. Doesn't that sound fair? So go ahead and experience these amazing results for yourself. Don't delay. Click below to claim your package now.